I am going to get started. As Chris mentioned, my name is Tony Mercurio. I am the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations Director at Turnkey now. Used to be AX is how everybody referred to the product, but now Microsoft has rebranded, and we have a cloud solution versus the traditional on-prem model that AX was originally and had been for many, many years as a ERP solution. So I'm going to focus on Finance and Operations Enterprise Edition this morning for you, and then Bill is going to come up and talk to you guys about the Business Edition of Finance and Operations. Okay, so there's a couple different platforms in the Dynamics 365 space, so we're hoping to give you information on that today. So I'm going to start out by talking about, kind of like Chris did, the Microsoft stack concept, okay? So you can see from this visual, we have in the middle of our grid, we have finance and operations, we have talent, retail, marketing, field service, customer service, sales, and project service automation. Those are all components of the Dynamics 365 family of products, okay? And on the outside of this, you see that we have Office 365. We have integration with these products into Office 365, okay? We have Power Apps, Flow, and a common data service. The common data service that Microsoft has created allows us to have these applications talk and communicate with each other. So I can share information from sales with my finance and operations back office solution, okay? So the integration that comes from this family of products is very tight and is a growing platform for Microsoft today. So they're constantly adding new capabilities and then allowing us to, bring these solutions together more cohesively to enable our business to run that much more efficiently. We also talk about Power BI. That's a big component. Azure IoT. Because this is running on the Azure platform, we have the ability to take advantage of the Azure IoT functionality as well and have information, again, shared into our applications, okay? And App Source, Chris mentioned ISV add-on solutions to the GP product. Similar concept, Microsoft has created an App Source, which is basically a marketplace where solution providers have the ability to put out their add-on solutions or niche solutions, if you will, that will allow you to integrate into the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations application as well, okay? We have a lot of functionality out of the box, but there's always that unique situation, that might be specific to one industry that hasn't been captured as core functionality overall, okay? But just kind of want to point out and give you guys that visual to understand how all of this ties together under the Dynamics 365 umbrella that Microsoft has today, okay? And again, I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of PowerPoint. I want to show you, give you some information here, and then we're going to jump into the application, and I'll give you guys a tour around the product, okay? Here we talk about, this is an overview, complete solutions. You have all of your financial needs baked into this product. A procure-to-pay scenario, as Chris walked through in GP, a quote-to-cash, multi-channel, retail, distribution, manufacturing. We've got all your supply chain functionality, manufacturing operations, hire to retire. We have full HCM management capabilities within this platform as well, okay? The various industries you see down below, manufacturing, distribution, retail, service industries, public sector. As Chris mentioned, this is a solution we run our business on today. Ran it on GP for a long time, but finally decided it was time to move up to, more modern solution. So now we run our business on this platform today, okay? Wait for my slide to catch up here. We talk about the financial backbone. As I mentioned, we have full financial capabilities within this solution. Your budgeting, general ledger, accounts payable, accounts receivable, cost accounting, fixed assets, project accounting, reporting. We've got Power BI capabilities. There's some that are already built in, out of the box standard in the application, in addition to the fact that you can leverage Power BI to create your own renderings, your own views, your own reports, right, based on the data in the application. Okay, but want to give you guys that clear picture that the out-of-the-box functionality capabilities that are here are designed to support everything you need in your business and have the financial backbone and structure that you guys want, right? Because obviously we all know, regardless of what our business is, our financial backbone and that underlying structure is the core of what we're driving after, right? We need to know that we've got the ability to capture all that information the way we need it to be in the solution. Okay? I just want to talk a little bit about globalization. This solution supports multi-company, multi-currency, has a ton of globalization options out of the box, standard functionality, localization features that can be turned on depending on where you're running your business. You know, if you're running your business in Mexico, for example, there's certain government regulations, reporting needs that you have. There's localization that supports that functionality out of the box, okay? You know, for example, like I said, you're running a business in Europe, there's a whole lot of EU reporting and business management needs that have to be accounted for. There's localization features within this product that will support this. This slide is kind of highlighting the fact that the way things used to work with most technology, and especially with Microsoft and a lot of their products, there'd be regulatory changes. Microsoft would go in and they'd make code updates, and then a partner or a customer would have to handle the upgrade process to take those changes in so that they could be now compliant with those particular regulatory changes. The way the process works today, Microsoft has basically created a platform called Lifecycle Services that allows them to roll out updates and changes, and they become very simple and easy to manage, getting those turned on and configured in your application. So it's helped streamline the process. We don't have a lot of heavy lifting, and you know, we're not talking about something becoming a development effort now in order for us to consume new regulations, new changes, and become compliant very quickly, okay? More or less becomes scheduling a brief downtime in your system, right? Over a weekend or something like that, you turn the features on, you're ready to go the next day, okay? So they've streamlined the process. It's a lot easier than it used to be. And that's kind of what I wanted to highlight here. And we'll touch on this because I'm going to get into the solution as I mentioned, but just to give you a high-level overview of all the modules that come in this solution. As I mentioned, we've got all of our financial support, but you know, we see budgets, project accounting, invoicing and billing, fixed assets, AR, AP, GL, cash and bank management, credit collections, expense management. So Microsoft has delivered this solution. You buy a license to this product, you have access to all the feature functionality in the solution. With a full user license, I should stipulate that, right? We again have full user, team member activity and device licensing structures against this platform. So obviously, depending on the different licensing you have, that limits your access to the solution, but the functions, the features, the modules, all of that capability is still there based on your licensing that you bought. It's just whether or not you can access it as a user, okay? That's also obviously governed by, I should say obviously, but that's governed by security as well. Role-based security system, and I'll show you a little bit how that looks as well so you get a feel for what the different roles are and some of the different look and feel there. And then also we have a concept in Dynamics 365 Enterprise called Workspaces. So these are essentially, on my dashboard you'll see in a minute I have Workspaces, and Workspaces are a collection of pieces of information that enable users to do their job more efficiently, okay? And again, this view changes based on my security role and or the roles that I have assigned to me within the organization, what my job function is, okay? But again, collection of details so that when I log into the system, I can quickly get and navigate to the things that I need to perform my job, okay? And I believe this is my last slide before I'm going to jump into the application here. But I just wanted you guys to understand there are, well, today there are 2 deployment options available for Microsoft for the solution. There's 3 total, The one in the middle, the Cloud Edge, which we refer to as a hybrid model, has not yet been released. It's coming out at the end of this year. But the cloud solution, complete Azure hosted, you know, a complete cloud-based solution. You don't have to worry about maintaining servers or anything like that to run your business. It all runs in the Azure public cloud, okay? The second option that's available currently at the end there is what's called local business data, or as more people commonly know that is on-premise, okay? It's that model where everything you own, servers, hardware, environments, everything's owned and managed by you, just like a typical on-prem solution. The only difference in this model is because of the UI for this product, it's actually a browser-based UI. It's not a client-based UI, okay? Like we see in GP, for example. I know GP has a web interface as well, but the standard product, you know, we have a client interface that we log into. And as I mentioned, the third option, Cloud Edge, which we call a hybrid model, which is coming out later this year. This gives you the ability to segregate, if you will. If you're a heavy distributor or a heavy manufacturer, you know, a heavy retailer type scenario, you may want to operate in a mode where some of my retail distribution or manufacturing processes reside locally, but some of my other processes like my finance or my HR or some of those aspects run in the cloud. So you end up in this hybrid model. That way, you know, if one of your plants, for example, loses connectivity to the internet, you can still run your manufacturing process. When they come back online, the product syncs back up and all my data synchronizes, okay? So again, that's an option that Microsoft is planning to roll out at the end of this year. So we'll have more information available to that as it becomes available. So I'm going to hop out of my presentation and I'm going to jump over here. Sorry, got to find my mouse. I see it. Got a little lag time in my display there. All right. So this, I am logged into the finance and operations application. As you can see, it's a browser-based interface. So I went to a URL and I've logged into the application. Now, as you saw in my PowerPoint, I have Workspaces. This is my default dashboard. I come in, I'm logged in currently as a system administrator, so I have access to everything in the solution, okay? But one thing I do want to point out, we talked about work items that are available. You see over here, I've got a link on my dashboard called work items that are assigned to me. So if I have tasks, workflow items, anything of that nature that have been assigned to me and my user in the system, those are automatically going to show up on my dashboard when I log into the system. So I see that these are things I need to take action against, okay? In addition to that, I have a variety of workspaces that are available for me to access. Now, depending on my role in the company, as I mentioned, this view is going to be different. But I want to give you guys an overview of the workspaces, number one, that we have in the solution, because you can see that there are a lot of them out here. I'll let my screen catch up for you. We have a lot of workspaces that are available. And we also, from my menu up here, you'll note that we have modules that are available as well. So one thing to note in the way this solution works a little differently than what you saw in the GP environment. I have workspaces, which are a collection of information related to my modules, related to a specific job function, if you will, versus modules. This is more my menu. You can see in the list on the left-hand side here, these are all the modules that come in the solution out of the box based on your licensing. Or I shouldn't say just based on you buying a license. There is no limitation to which module you can use. All the functionality is here. You can take advantage of any of it or a little bit that you may need to run your business, okay? But it's all here and it's all available. And as I click into a different module, for example, I'm in inventory management right now, you see all of the different sections that are available under the inventory management module, okay? So I want you guys to understand some of that overview from a UI standpoint, because it is a browser-based UI. It's a little different than, like I said, some of the more client-based applications that a lot of people are familiar with. We have access to all the workspaces from my menu as well. I can drop this down. You'll see all the workspaces listed here in a list format, similar to what's on the tiles behind. There's ability to, as you would expect, like in a browser, I have a list of recent, think of it as your history. These are the things that I've worked on recently when I've been logged into the system. Gives you quick access to go back to those places. And you also have the ability to add favorites. I could highlight any item in the menu here. For example, you see the little star shows up. I click that, it adds it to my favorites. So if I have specific things that I want to get to quickly from the menu, I can add them to my favorites. Again, very much like a browser UI as you think about browsing the web when you're out searching for things. You've got your favorites menu, you've got a history list, similar concept, right? So that's some of the high-level UI overview functionality, if you will. Now, some of the, I guess what I'll call nice things about the way this application is structured and put together, because I have access to a lot of feature functionality quickly. You know, we talk about, say, credit and collections as an example. I'm in charge of managing, working on customer credit. I can click on the customer and credit collections or customer credit collections workspace, and you're going to see that it opens up the workspace for me. And you can see some base information here, right? I've got tiles on the left that give me access to open activities, open cases, right? These are things related to my collection activities, right? Again, some of those may be assigned to me. Those would have been noted, again, initially on my dashboard. It would have shown me, hey, these are tasks that are assigned to you. But I can come in here and look at open cases and see what we're actively working on, chasing down open balances, things like that. And you can see out of the box, we've got some standard graphical representations of, as of 7/1, here's my balances based on my 30, 60, 90, and 180-day aging buckets. The nice thing about this is if I highlight on something, say I hover over 60 days and I click on that, it's going to drill me down in and show me the detail behind what makes up the balance that's in my over 60 days, or my 60-day bucket in this case, right? So I can quickly go from my dashboard and drill into the detail and see, here's what's behind it. Here's the customers that are falling into that bucket, okay? Now I can back up and I go back to my dashboard. The other thing that I want to show you here, I've got lists as I scroll over on my form. I've got customers that are overdue. I've got age balances, credit limits, customers on hold. I've got a lot of quick views into some of that consolidated data. So as a credit and collection person, this workspace really enables me to get a quick view into the solution, and I can see what I need in order to do my job, right? And we talked about Power BI. I do want to point out this graphical rendering here is not really Power BI. This is just graphical views of the data that have been embedded into a workspace. However, if I click on the analytics option up here, this will take a second to load up in my demo environment, so I apologize for that. But when this loads up, what you're going to see is a Power BI rendering of information related to my credit and collection detail, okay? And this is truly Power BI. This is just Power BI views that have been embedded into a workspace so that I have a quick view of information. Okay, and you can see down here at the bottom, I've got different tabs. I've got my collections overview. And as I have the ability to click on something in here. As I do that, it will rechart my numbers based on what I've highlighted and give me a quick view of that. And you'll see it also drilled me down in that case into the detail behind that particular information. I've got the ability on any given view, for example, if I look at my age balances view here, I've got a little button here at the top of this that allows me to focus on this. This will take this into full screen mode. If I want to drill into this closer, gives me a more updated or larger picture to look at. If I go back to that, view, you can also see, I apologize, I closed my view instead of going back to my menu. The other thing I want to point out, you've got ability within these views as well. You see the little ellipse that shows up here next to any one of these tiles. When I click on that, I have the ability to export the data or see the data, right? Or do different sorting, those kind of things. So I can dump this information out to Excel from one of my views in. Okay, and like I said, as you can see, there's different views that I can get, you know, the credit overview, credit limits, customers over their credit limit. So they built a lot of this and baked it into these analytical workspaces to give you that quick view into the solution. Okay? And you'll see that in a lot of areas in the system. But I want to point that out from a credit and collection standpoint. We've got a lot of graphical representation that we can get, plus we also have workspaces in this case that give us quick access to that information, allow you to do your job more effectively. That's the design behind the workspace. The other thing that's nice about the way the UI is structured, I can customize this workspace. If I want to add other things to this, because there's other things I think I need, you know, for my job, I can add links to other areas in the system. I can add links to an outside URL, for example. If there's a website I need to go to look some information up based on what I'm doing in my job, I can add that as a reference here. I can click on it, it'll open that new tab for me. Okay, so there's a lot of flexibility, a lot of customization that's available. You can create your own workspaces. If you decide we need a workspace that contains, you know, customer information and product information, you know, production order information, you want to pool all that into one place so you've got someone that wants to go in and have a quick view of some of that detail, you can create your own workspace, add those links not only to things that are inside the solution as far as a module, but you also have the ability then to create your own BI reports or views and add those to a workspace as well. So if you've built a Power BI view that you've based off some data, whether it's out of the solution or a combination of the solution data and external data, you have the ability to embed that into a workspace and give somebody that view easily as well. So a lot of flexibility in what you can do from the UI standpoint. That's a big thing that's been added as part of how Dynamics 365 works. So I want to make sure you guys understand that functionality. Now, I'm going to jump over to another screen here, and I am going to show you a variation. So I am logged into the same solution, but I'm logged in here as Prakash, who happens to be our project manager in this environment. So you can see, based on his role in the organization and the security that's assigned to his user, he clearly does not have all of the workspace views that I had in the other screen we were on, right? As a sysadmin, I had view to all that. So my view is limited based on my security roles, and the system comes out of the box with, I forget the exact number, but a very large number of role-based security options to help you quickly configure users and give them access to the things they need to do their job without worrying that they have access to things they don't need to have access to. Okay? And again, those roles are customizable if you need to get to that level from a security standpoint. Very flexible. Okay? And you see also from a module standpoint, he only has access to certain modules that are based on what he needs to have access to based on his role. But the thing I really wanted to show you in here related to Prakash as a project manager, I have a project management workspace, and we've lost my connection, so give me 1 second. A formal refresh here, and it'll take us back in there. I do want to assure you, as Chris said, you know, you run into things that happen in your demos, live demos that you don't want to happen, but this is not something that would happen in your production environment, okay? This is a demo instance, so there's certain things that go on here that we don't ever see in production. But I want to point out, you know, project management. We talk about being able to do full life cycle project management inside the solution, okay? You can see I've got a list of open projects. If I drill into a project here, I'll go into my city manufacturing project. This will open up and give me the project detail. Now, as Chris talked to you guys about, the concept behind the project, I've got my project. That's tied to a project contract, okay? The contract's my driver behind it. This is hierarchy, right? The contract is ultimately associated with my customer that I'm engaging with to do this project, okay? So we have that hierarchy in the solution, just as you would expect. But the thing that's nice about what I can do in this solution, I'm going to back up one step here. I just wanted to show you the hierarchy and give you that underlying deal behind the framework, if you will, of the project. But I have a tool here. I can click on my work breakdown structure, and this will load up in a second. And you can see I've got my WBS related to this project in the solution. I have the ability to expand it to the various levels that I want to see. Let me just click on expand all. You can see this is my breakdown for this particular WBS related to this project. I have the ability to do time and material projects. I can do fixed price projects. I can carry a WBS structure, very basic, very broad, okay? Really no limitations. It's to the level of detail that you need it to be, okay? I've got the ability to show roles assignment. I've got the ability to show resource assignments. So I have the ability basically to do full project management within the solution. All out of the box functionality, no need for add-ons, anything of that nature, right? And we've also got some views in here. If I go, you see my other tab here is my estimating costs and revenue. This again will load up my view based on my WBS, and then I have the ability to expand this as well, and then you can see, you can get a breakdown based on my costs and my revenue based on my pricing and things that are associated with my project, okay? So a lot of flexibility within the solution on how I can manage projects and how I can use this, whether these are internal projects, whether I'm using this to manage external customer projects. You know, as Chris mentioned, we run our business on this platform. We're a service-based organization, so everything we do is run through projects, right? That's how we track where our efforts are going, what we're working on for a client, all that type of stuff. So we live and breathe this day in and day out. So we take advantage of what the solution has to offer, okay? And the other thing I wanted to mention, again, I'll just show this, you know, so you guys get the idea. Like we saw in the credit and collection workspace, we have an analytics tab related to my project management as well. So I have the ability to get the very graphical view into my projects that I'm working on, okay? And in this case, I'll just point out the information that I see in this view here is directly related in my example to the company that I'm logged into right now. Again, I mentioned we support multi-company. If I click on my company ID up here and I click this drop down, you can see we have a bunch of different companies that are set up within a single instance of the solution, okay? You talk about the backbone of finance, right? We talk about general ledger and a chart of accounts. I have the ability to have a single shared chart of accounts across all the companies I have in the solution. I have the ability to segment them out. Each company can have their own chart. I might have 2 or 3 companies that share one chart and everybody else has their own chart. So we have the ability, we can support that. Multi-currency, as I mentioned, we do currency exchange rates. There's tools within the solution that allow you to integrate into a rate service. If you want to pull rates in on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, there's tools to do that. You know, now I will say this. I know Chris took you through a quote to cash, order to cash, procure to pay scenario, okay? I didn't stage that up to walk you guys through that because, quite frankly, the functionality is here. Everything that Chris showed you, I can do, and I can take most of those things to a little further level. Out of the box, standard functionality, okay? GP has base functionality, has a lot of tools that add on that extend functionality. We have a lot of that functionality all in the solution out of the box. You get into warehousing, we have standard WMS. We also have advanced WMS. We can take you all the way down to a handheld scanner, generating work tasks to your users, put away, pick, pack. You know, we have all that breakdown. We have transportation management. We got a lot of functionality baked into this tool. Again, all out of the box functionality. You buy a license, you have access to everything. Okay? There are add-on solutions, as I mentioned, that get you into some of your niche things. There's always something, I shouldn't say always, but you know, you run into something that's unique that Microsoft hasn't baked into the solution. Again, with this product, just like with GP or anything else Microsoft owns, they're prone to go out and buy IP from someone. They determine this provider has a solution that they think would really be nice to have standard. They'll go buy that IP, they'll embed that into the standard product, right? So now there's no need to go out and get an ISV for that. They baked it into the product, okay? The other thing I wanted to show you, you talk about HR functionality real quick. I'm going to shift gears on you again, and I'm going to jump over to another window. I'll let this come up for you quickly here. In this view, so here I am logged into the application as Claire, who is our HR manager. Okay, again, once again, you can see Claire has a different view of Workspaces. She's our HR manager. She's not obviously worried about inventory or production or projects and those kind of things. She's more worried about personnel management, right? And again, show you from a menu structure, we got a lot of different functionalities here that she has that someone else in the organization wouldn't have. But again, she's worried about personnel management. If I drill into my personnel management workspace here, this will load up. Again, Workspace gives her a quick view into employees, open positions. Let me scroll over on the screen here for you. She's got a list of all the open positions. She's got quick links to get to details, workers, past workers, departments, jobs that we have open, positions we have open. And once again, we've got an analytic view here. Again, that will give you that quick graphical hit into the system. Okay? Now, one thing I want to point out, again, HR functionality out of the box, benefits, compensation, payroll, competencies, skills, courses, education, all that functionality is built into the solution. Okay? Payroll, there's standard payroll functionality in the product. We also have integrations to, I won't say all, but a large number of global payroll providers. There's integration capabilities if you want to use ADP or Paychex or somebody like that to manage your payroll. You've got integrations from the solution directly into that, right? You can manage it here, but you can leverage them to do all the heavy lifting for you, if you will, okay? So you have all those standard HR functionality. You know, if I bring up the menu here and I show you human resources, you'll see the different areas that I have available from a human resource standpoint. So there's a lot of functionality built into the standard product, a lot of flexibility. We talked about, you talk about employee self-service. I want to go back to the dashboard here. Every employee, even if I have a team member license, right, they have limited functionality in the system, but they still have access to employee self-service. So this is a view that an employee would have access to access their personal employee information, right? I can look at my compensation. Again, if I'm managing reviews and performance, all that functionality in the solution, an employee can come in here and see, am I registered for any courses right now? Do I have any, I want to look at my next scheduled review. I need updates and stuff related to my skills. I just got done taking a class on warehouse management, so I want to go add that I've got that new skill now, right? So they have access to manage their personal information and view detail about their role within the organization, right? Again, I can see compensation, pay statements, screen scrolls over here for you. There you go. And you'll see those by default show up with they don't show up where if somebody clicks on their employee self-service, it doesn't automatically show their last pay statement or what their compensation is, right? They have to drill into that. So if somebody's standing next to them, they're not just looking at their private information, right? But a lot of functionality, and again, role-based, some of it's license-based. As I mentioned, a team member would have access to view the employee information. They can put in time. They need to put in a time sheet. They need to put in expenses, those types of things. They can do all of that, right? But they may not access any other functionality in the system, okay? So again, wanted to give you a high-level overview of the solution, the UI. I know the UI is different than most, than a lot of ERP systems that are out there in the marketplace today. But as you see things move to the cloud, we start to see more things move into this web-based or browser-type UI, which more and more people are becoming used to using, right? Everybody's on the internet searching for things, doing this. Whether you're logging into your bank to pay your bills or you're out on Amazon looking for the next book you want to read, for example, right? So Microsoft has taken that approach from a UI standpoint. And again, as I mentioned, all the core functionality that you need, if I jump back over to my main board here, my main view, to show you kind of that overview, we've got budgeting, we've got banking, project managers, we demonstrated. There's a lot of functionality under my project management. Cost accounting. I've gotten some of the other features that we have too, again, role associated, but you can see, for example, I've got a CFO overview dashboard. This is a fully, a full Power BI rendering that gets a quick view for a CFO, for example, that just wants to come in and get a quick picture of how the company's doing. Right? It's a quick view. Again, I can highlight areas, I can hover on them, expand them, I can dump data out. This is a holistic view from a whole standpoint. I didn't point out in most of these, in these analytical views, I have different inquiries. You'll see this is all company specific, but if I wanted to focus in on a specific company in this view, I could click on my manufacturing operation, for example, and my view changes now to reflect the information specific to that legal entity or that company that I have set up inside the application. Okay, so a lot of powerful information available. You know, I'll just mention, if we talk about finance a little bit, again, that's our underlying foundation for our solution, but we have full financial reporting capabilities. There's a whole module under general ledger related to financial reporting and all of the pieces of that puzzle. So I just want to make sure you guys understand that we have the ability to not only track the finances, but we also have the ability to report against the finances. There's a set of out-of-the-box reports. There's a tool that comes with the application that allows you to modify these reports. If you need to add, remove, change, you can do that. Make those changes. Now you got your financial reporting capabilities in conjunction with your Power BI capabilities, right? So between those things, you have a lot of detail and information available to get out of the system. Okay? So I'm going to try and keep us on track here so we don't run over time, and I make sure Bill's got time to talk to everybody so we can get you guys out of here, because I know everybody's got work to go back to and things to do this morning. So, but we appreciate you guys coming out to talk to us and listen to what we have to say today. So on that note, does anybody have any questions about this specific solution and some of the things I've talked about, or something I didn't talk about for that matter?
There was an online question. Howard asks, what about security and assurance of the security, especially after examples as Experian, et cetera? Some data security, I'm assuming in the Azure cloud and things like that. Yeah, in the Azure cloud, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't have the particular specs in front of me, but the Azure cloud, the Microsoft public cloud that this platform runs in, you know, Microsoft invests millions of dollars every year to ensure that their cloud
is the most secure cloud out there. Microsoft has also, I can't remember the percentage, but they have a large percentage of the U.S. government running in the Azure cloud space today. So security is paramount and forefront in everything that Microsoft does. So, you know, when you talk about having your data in the cloud, how secure it is, again, can I tell you 100% that anything is ever 100% secure? No, but I can almost guarantee you that your data is more secure in the Azure cloud than it is on a server sitting in your office.
Right, because they do have that option on-premise.
Yeah, but you do have the option for on-prem. A lot of companies that run solutions today in-house, they invest a lot of money in security and obviously making sure your networks are secure, access is secure, but Microsoft invests tens of millions of dollars a year in ensuring that the Azure cloud is secure so that your data is secure and you don't have to worry about it being breached. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, sir.
How are you able to, this 365 allow you to set up workflows for invoice approval?
Absolutely.
How does that work? And is there document capture? Please drill down functionality.
So let me show, so full document capture capabilities. Let me drill into a record here and I'll show you. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, the question was, do we support workflow? You know, say like invoice approval type things like that within the solution. And also, do we have document management, document capture functionalities within the product, right? So on a form, I'm in a customer record here. As you can see, I've got a little paper clip up in my right-hand corner. This is where I can manage document attachment to any record in the solution. In my case, I don't have anything attached, but I can say new, and I've got different doc options, files, image, a note, or a URL. And you can define other document types that you want to be able to attach as well in your setup and configuration of the solution. But I have the ability to capture any documents and attach those to a record, a transaction, whatever you might need to do there. So that's supported out of the box, no problem. And workflow, as you mentioned, we have the ability to do workflow around invoice approval, really around almost any area in the solution. Big ones that we typically see: invoice approval, time and expense approval, a lot of our HR functionality, another area like purchase requisitions, for example. You can support the purchase rec approval process tied into your budget for a particular department, so you know whether or not, you know, I should even allow you to buy a new laptop because you exceeded your budget for the year. So you can tie all that into your workflow as well. So a workflow standpoint, there's a whole workflow configurator that allows you to build your workflow out, add the different levels. We use workflow internally for purchase requisitions. We also use it for timesheet approval. Those are our big ones that we use it for right now today, but it is supported out of the box.